Welcome, dear seekers of knowledge, to a quiz designed to test your knowledge of the Sahaba. May Allah be pleased with them all. Our method is simple. 3 truths, 1 misconception. Can you spot the error? Let's begin. Which of these statements about Abu Bakr as Siddiq, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He led the Muslim army in the Battle of Mu'tah. Abu Bakr was not at the Battle of Mu'tah, which took place during the Prophet's lifetime. The Muslim army at Mu'tah was led by Zayd ibn Haritha, then Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, then Abdullah ibn Rawaha, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Which of these statements about Umar ibn al-Khattab is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. During his caliphate, he established the Islamic lunar calendar starting from the year of his birth. The Islamic calendar, Hijri, was established by Caliph Umar, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, but it starts from the year of the Prophet's, peace be upon him, Hijra, migration, to Medina, not from Umar's birth. Which of these statements about Uthman ibn Affan is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He financed the preparation of the Muslim army at the Battle of the Trench with his own wealth. While Uthman was immensely wealthy and generous, the companion who famously financed the army at the Trench, Khandak, was a Jewish convert, Sa'd ibn Mu'ad, who provided a large quantity of dates. Which of these statements about Ali ibn Abi Talib is incorrect? The incorrect statement is A. He was the Prophet's, peace be upon him, cousin and the first child to accept Islam. While Ali was indeed among the very first to accept Islam, he was not a child but a young boy, around 10 years old. The first child to accept Islam is a distinction that could be debated, but the first male overall was Abu Bakr, and the first woman was Khadija. Which of these statements about Khalid ibn Al-Walid is incorrect? The incorrect statement is B. He was undefeated in over 100 battles. While Khalid ibn Al-Walid was a brilliant and highly successful military commander, the statement that he was undefeated in over 100 battles is an exaggeration not supported by authentic historical sources. He did face tactical setbacks in smaller engagements. Which of these statements about Bilal ibn Rabah is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was appointed as the chief treasurer, Baytul il-Mal, by Caliph Abu Bakr. Bilal is not known to have held the position of chief treasurer. The role of managing the treasury was typically held by others, such as Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah, and later, during Umar's time, Abdullah ibn Arqam. Which of these statements about Hamzah ibn Abdul Muttalib is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was given the title Asadullah, the Lion of Allah, by the Prophet, peace be upon him, himself. The title Asadullah, Lion of Allah, is most famously and authentically associated with Hamzah, but there is some scholarly discussion on whether the Prophet, peace be upon him, directly gave him this title, or if it became a posthumous honorific. The more established title given directly by the Prophet is Chief of the Martyrs. Which of these statements about Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was the commander of the Muslim army at the Battle of Qadisiyah. The commander at the pivotal Battle of Qadisiyah against the Sassanid Empire was Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas. Abu Ubaidah was the supreme commander of the Muslim armies fighting the Byzantine Empire in the Levant. Which of these statements about Salman al-Farisi is incorrect? The incorrect statement is B. He suggested digging a trench as a defensive strategy for the Battle of Uhud. Salman al-Farisi suggested the trench strategy for the Battle of the Trench, not the Battle of Uhud. The Battle of Uhud was fought on mountainous terrain. Which of these statements about Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan is incorrect? The incorrect statement is B. He accepted Islam during the year of the conquest of Mecca. Muawiyah and his father, Abu Sufyan, and mother, Hind, accepted Islam before the conquest of Mecca, during a period when the Muslim army was approaching the city, not during the actual conquest. Which of these statements about Ammar ibn Yasir is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was killed by the army of Muawiyah in the Battle of Siffin. While Ammar fought on the side of Ali and was martyred during the Battle of Siffin, he was not killed by Muawiyah's army directly in a manner that implies specific blame. The Prophet, peace be upon him, had foretold that Ammar would be killed by a rebellious group, a prophecy that caused great distress to Muawiyah's camp when it came to pass. Which of these statements about Zayd ibn Haritha is incorrect? The incorrect statement is C. He was the only companion besides the Prophet, peace be upon him, mentioned by name in the Quran. Zayd is mentioned by name in the Quran, Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 37. However, he is not the only companion mentioned. Jesus' disciples are referred to as believers, Muslims, in the Quran, and if we consider non-human companions, the Prophet's she-camel, Salih's camel, is also mentioned. The statement is a common but inaccurate simplification. Which of these statements about Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was appointed by Caliph Uthman to lead the committee for the compilation of the standard Quranic text. The committee for the final compilation of the Quran during Uthman's caliphate was led by Zayd ibn Thabit, not Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Ibn Mas'ud had his own compilation, but the standard Uthmani codex was based on the version collected by Zayd radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Which of these statements about Talha ibn Ubaydullah is incorrect? The incorrect statement is A. He was one of the 8 earliest converts to Islam. Talha was an early convert, but he was not among the first 8. He accepted Islam through the efforts of Abu Bakr shortly after the first wave, which included Khadija, Ali, Abu Bakr, and Zayd, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum. Which of these statements about Zubayr ibn Al-Awwam is incorrect? Which of these statements about Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was the only person for whom the Prophet ﷺ prayed that his supplications would always be answered. The Prophet, peace be upon him, did pray for Sa'd radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, but the narration specifies he prayed for Sa'd's mother to be guided, not that all of Sa'd's own supplications would be answered. The Prophet, peace be upon him, made a similar prayer for another companion, Anas ibn Malik, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Which of these statements about Abdul Rahman ibn Auf is incorrect? The incorrect statement is C. He was given the choice during the Battle of Badr to fight or to provide logistical support, and he chose to fight. This incident is famously associated with Abu Dujana, not Abdul Rahman ibn Auf. The Prophet, peace be upon him, offered a sword and asked who would take it with its right, and Abu Dujana took it. Which of these statements about Abu Hurairah is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He served as the governor of Bahrain during the caliphate of Umar, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu did serve as a governor, but it was of Medina, and possibly Bahrain for a brief period according to some weak reports, but the well-established governorship of Bahrain was held by Al-Ala ibn al-Hadrami, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Attributing it primarily to Abu Huraira is a misconception. Which of these statements about Salama is incorrect? The incorrect statement is C. She was the last of the Prophet's, peace be upon him, wives to pass away. While Salama lived a long life, the last of the Prophet's wives to pass away was Safiya bintu Huyay, Maymuna bintu al-Harith, depending on the historical account. Salama died later, around 59 AH, so the statement is not entirely accurate. Which of these statements about Hassan ibn Ali, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was known for frequently divorcing and remarrying, exceeding the Islamic limit of 4 wives at a time. This is a common misconception. While Hassan did have multiple marriages, there is no authentic evidence that he ever exceeded the Islamic limit of 4 wives at any given time. His personal life has been subject to exaggerated and unsubstantiated reports. Which of these statements about Anas ibn Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was present and fought in the Battle of Badr as a young soldier. Anas ibn Malik was a young boy when he came to serve the Prophet, peace be upon him. He was only about 10 years old at the time of the Battle of Badr and did not participate in the fighting. He participated in later battles. Which of these statements about Ayman, Barakah, is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. She was the mother of the companion Ayman, who was killed in the Battle of Hunain. Ayman's son, whose name was Ayman, was actually killed in the Battle of Khaybar, not the Battle of Hunain. Which of these statements about Mus'ab ibn Umayr is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was chosen to carry the Muslim standard in both the battles of Badr and Uhud. Mus'ab ibn Umayr carried the standard at the Battle of Uhud, where he was martyred. However, at the Battle of Badr, the standard was carried by Ali ibn Abi Talib, or, according to some reports, Mus'ab's brother. Which of these statements about Ja'far ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu ta'ala anhu is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. He was martyred in the Battle of Mu'tah, and it was said he received 2 wounds in the front of his body. The unique distinction of Ja'far, R.A., at Mu'tah was that his body sustained so many wounds, but the famous narration states that he was hit by so many strikes that he was dismembered. It was later found that he had over 90 wounds, not just 2. The 2 wounds is a severe understatement and incorrect. Which of these statements about the Ansar, helpers of Medina, is incorrect? The incorrect statement is D. The Quranic chapter Surah Al-Hashr was revealed exclusively to praise the Ansar for their sacrifices. While Surah Al-Hashr, chapter 59, does praise the Ansar in its final verses, the chapter was revealed concerning the conflict with the Jewish tribe of Banu Nadir, not exclusively to praise the Ansar. The primary praise for the Ansar and Muhajirun is found in Surah At-Tawbah. May this journey through their lives bring you closer to their noble example.